burden somebody requiring them to do something. You know, it has to be, you have to show that it's reasonable, something that they can do, but you do have to do it. And what we want to try to do is we want to try to do these things ahead of time and let people know what they can and how they should do it, and work with them to comply with these things, because one of the situations is that if in fact somebody comes in and issues a complaint, and it's a legitimate complaint, then the Act, the American Disability Act, comes in, takes place, there's fines, you know, it becomes a unpleasant situation, and we want to try to do it in a better manner. There's a lot of programs out there too that are available to the town that we haven't taken part of yet. But we have worked with Bill Halligan, who's on the committee now. He was on in the past, and he has agreed to work with us again, and, you know, until what time he can into it, because we have to come up with an overall plan. It should actually have already been done and on file, and it isn't. So
well, back in '97 there was a lot of discussion about it, and also I thought there was some sort of timelines associated with compliance with certain specific aspects of the American Disabilities Act. The communities are supposed to be complying.
That's true, I think, but what it is, it's if
right.
nobody does anything and it's not brought to anybody's attention, it goes by, you know.
Yeah, if I could speak on this issue, Mr. Earl. I think I'm probably the only member of the board that was here when this came up in the prior years. Yeah, okay, well, maybe 4. But anyways, okay. It's just that, you know, I heard you mention, Mr. Earl, that they did not get any support. I don't know who they meant did not support them, but I know at the time, the board did support them, but what the board had asked them to do, where they were new, was to start out slowly, and start out doing training, and not physically going in and telling people they had to put in new front doors, et cetera, et cetera. It's not that the board did not support them, but the board had asked them to start slowly and do training. And to the best of my recollection, I believe they got quite upset at this, and more or less did not want to do it that way. I mean, I am in full support, and I will support the ADA acts and regulations. I mean, I handle similar situations every day in another, you know, town next to us. So I did support. I mean, I did support any work that they did want to do. I just don't want the general impression of that the Board of Selectmen did not support their efforts. What the board had asked them to do was to start out slowly and work their way up. I am in support of it.
I was here for that. I was here for that, and again, you're absolutely right. What they came was with a proposed bylaw, which would enact a lot of the things and put a time frame on it. And what we were looking to do was have the Committee on Disabilities assist particularly the business community in complying with the ADA by going in and basically doing a consulting job with them, training and consulting, saying, you know, you've got some deadlines, timelines that have to be met by, say, 2003, 2006. And these are some of the things that are going to have to be addressed. We're not telling you to do it now. We're telling you to factor it into your plans, and your future expansion plans and your improvement plans, and go ahead and do it that way, rather than giving them the authority, because that's what they were coming in looking for, the authority to go in and demand that the work be done. And the board at the time said, we didn't agree on that particular point. What we wanted to do was have it implemented in a more informal fashion by making it informational, having the committee be very visible, go out there, do the legwork, and get it out into the community as to what's going to have to be done with specific property owners. And they did do some of it. They did come up and do it, because I know we had them come up to Hillview, walk through the facility with us, and what we do to comply, what would be expected, and we've been implementing it over a period of time before the deadlines come and you have to go in and do it. But I guess the interest waned a little bit because they didn't have the teeth that they were looking for.
Exactly, and that was the, you know, 6 of one, half dozen the other. The fact of the matter is, what I like to see and what they would like to see, and what we really must do, is to comply with the law. And in order to do that, one of the things is, the problem is if you do it on a consulting type basis or an advisory type basis, nobody has to do anything. And what we want to do is to be able to say that this is the law, this is what you must do, and this is what you will do, before somebody goes in and complains, and then in fact it becomes actually more of a burden to that individual and to the town. We're not, as a town, we are not in compliance now. And it has been brought forward different times, and like I say, it just has not been.
I look forward to the discussion again.
So there is a number of things, and we are looking to have an article in October on that. The way, the background of the article that we accepted, there was some changes made in the article itself, and we want to go back to the article as it's in the state law, have it accepted on that basis. So that's what we're working on now. And we also are working on getting the plan required under the law to have it in the town so that it's there. And like I say,
at some point we'll have the committee disciplinary committee make a presentation to the board.
Well, I would assume that we will, on the basis of the fact that once we get the article to put the back.
You're the liaison from the board to the committee.
Yes.
If the committee's looking to do this, I would hope that the committee would come in and make a presentation to the board. You know.
I don't know if that's the case, but I do know that they will have an article prepared. Now, whether or not they will themselves come in and present it to the board or not, I don't know, but.
Well, in addition to that, we're going to have a public hearing on the warrant articles anyway, but I would hope before that time period, we'll be a little bit up to speed as to exactly what direction we're looking for.
But it was very enlightening I went up to Andover at the meeting, and there was North Andover, Haverhill, North Reading, Methuen was there, and they have done a number of things in those towns. They not all haven't done everything, but I mean they have done. There's certainly a lot available for the disabled, and it's certainly something that we should do.
Okay, I look forward to the discussion of the proposed articles. Anything else?
That's it.
That's it. Okay. Mr. Muldoon.
Thank you. I've been out of town for the past week, so I really don't have anything. I just want to remind everyone the Elementary School Building Committee continues to meet and will be meeting tomorrow night in the library activity room at 6:30. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Burke. Mr. B.
Yes, I want to preface this by saying I did get a hold of the town manager, and he has taken care of the situation, and I'm assuming he will explain it much better than I can, but I got a lot of phone calls over this envelope right here. And I must tell you, ladies and gentlemen, I was surprised as you was. I did not understand what it was. It was a survey that was sent out. I've spoken to the town manager. I think in the future things may be done quite a bit different. I did receive a number of phone calls from people, and I did tell them I would bring this up. I do want to say, I know senior citizens had some concerns over their home being reassessed because of some of the questions on this. That is not going to happen. It will not happen as part of this study here. That will not happen. I personally did not like some of the questions. One on there, I call it squeal on your neighbor. That's just my opinion. I won't go into that right now, but I was not happy with it. I'm not saying that I want this Board of Selectmen to see every survey before it goes out, but I do agree with a number of people that I feel this was a little too in-depth for the information that they were looking for. Again, as I said, as I preface this, in my opinion, my feelings, the town administrator has taken care of the situation, but I did want to mention it tonight. Thank you.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, I think all of us might have a comment to that.
I did forget about it. I received a number of calls too, and I want to apologize to the people that called, because I told them that I would look into it, and I did not actually have a chance to talk to Mr. Young about it, but I'm very much opposed to it, and I have told people, as far as I'm concerned, I am not going to respond to it, and I recommend people do not respond to it until such time it is rewritten, reworded, and and they are, you know, forewarned of the information that the town is looking for and the reason behind it. So therefore, that's the way I feel about it right now, and I am not happy about it at all. One other thing is, I did mention earlier, before we open the meeting, if we could have a box here that we can put materials that we go over with that we no longer need for the town to dispose of. I don't like putting information out in my rubbish. You know, it's not confidential information or anything, but it's town matters, town business, and I don't need any, you know, public hearings on pole locations and such that, you know, I'd just rather be able to leave it here if the board doesn't have an objection that they let the town dispose of it.
I think we have a receptacle for paper, while we separate.
We can take care of that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's put it in. Mr. Murphy, in relation to the survey.
The survey, I too received calls and questions as I walked down the street. Am I supposed to fill out this survey? I actually haven't seen the survey. I did not get one.
Putting that down.
But I too spoke with Tom about it, and I have not had a chance to catch up with Mr. Hanlon on it. So I have not yet seen it. Now, I can't read that this far away. But I was satisfied that Tom took the matter took it seriously, and he got things under control, and we'll be making appointments at some point in the future to a committee that's going to be a part of this process.
Just my comments in relation to the survey too. And when I came home from work one night, it was after town hall was closed. There was messages on the machine. My wife had it half filled out. Someone else had called just as I came in the door. And I said, I don't know what you're talking about. Let me see what it is. And I said, you know, town of North Reading. I see North Reading Project Citizen Advisory Committee. I said, do we have one of those?
No.
You know,
Exactly what I said.
do we have one of those? And I didn't think so. So I took it upon myself to call a consulting firm. Mr. Media answered the phone and was unaware as to whether or not a committee existed or not. So then he referred me to the consultants, to Weston and Sampson engineers. So I called them and I spoke to the person who was in charge of the project. She was under the impression that everything had been taken care of on the home front here. Been told that, you know, I wasn't aware of it. I don't think the other members were aware of it, and that the issue wasn't there with Weston and Sampson, but it's here at Town Hall. And I spoke with the town administrator the next day. I know Mr. Hanlon attempted to give me a call. We haven't connected yet, but I too, just as far as the process, how it was handled, information that's being sought. I know this is part of the $400,000 that was appropriated by town meeting. The survey was going to be included. That was part of the discussion, so there was some public discussion about it. This Project Citizen Advisory Committee is to be formed, apparently. I guess my concern is, you know, we're sending out something the guys of something from the town of North Reading with a non-existent committee right now, and saying if it's that important, the Department of Public Works should have signed off on it. Come to the Board of Selectmen, put the Board of Selectmen's name on it, town administrator's name, anybody but something that doesn't exist. And, so from the way that was handled, there's concerns. As far as answering the survey, again, Mr. Hanlon, I know, has pressed upon everybody, Mr. Clark, that it's important information that needs to be gathered. It's not going to be utilized to come after anybody and go after someone's septic system and find out that it's not Title V. Those are all subject to other rules and regulations. So,
Mr. Chairman.
I don't know what the administration is planning on handling at this particular point, whether they're still asking people to submit the survey, or is it going to be done at a later date? Just for clarity issues, I think it's important to let the public know that this is what the information is going to be used for, as it's stated in the letter. It's coming from the Department of Public Works, or the administration, and we'd still like people to fill it out, or not, or wait. So I think they have a right to know. Mr. Rowe.
Yeah, I do have a question, because you mentioned there's a question on there, basically, as Joe briefly covered. You know, do you know of anybody, a neighbor, whatever that might not be in compliance and give